and welcome. I'm Emma.
I'm Tracey.
And we are the Curly
Seas. This is a video podcast, or what do we call it?
A video podcast, I think.
A video, oh, there you go.
Well, I don't know, because a podcast is audio, isn't it? Or
yeah, but a lot of people say podcast videos,
the videos.
Should we restart?
It's a podcast. It's going well. No, we'll keep going. We'll just
all right,
keep going.
Okay, we can just have a movie.
Yeah.
So it's a podcast, a video podcast.
A video podcast.
And it's about quilting. We get there. It's about quilting.
With a few other bits thrown in as well.
Yes.
So there'll be a bit of all sorts, really.
Yes.
Bit of all sorts.
Yes. We both live on the south coast of the United Kingdom. I live near Portsmouth, not in Portsmouth, but close to Portsmouth.
And I live just outside of Salisbury in Wiltshire.
And Hampshire. So we are neighbouring counties.
We are.
Yeah. We are neighbouring counties. And we are cousins, by the way. Did we say we were cousins?
I can't remember if we mentioned that or
but
not.
we are
Actually.
cousins.
We are related.
And yeah, we've both been quilting since the 2000s.
Roughly.
A bit before, but
yes.
Roughly sort of in earnest since 2000.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, but we'll probably cover more of that in another one.
Yes.
So this is our first one, so we thought we'd give it a go and see how we go. It could be one of one, could be one of one, or it could be one of many. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah. But we thought we'd just jump on and we'd perhaps talk a little bit about what we're working on, what we've finished, which isn't a lot in my case. I don't know about you.
I have a lot of work in progresses.
Yes.
I do. Lots of whips.
And talk a little bit about things that are coming up, what's happening, especially in the UK. Especially in the UK.
Yes. Yeah, we don't seem to have much. Well, there's going to be a new podcast, isn't there, for quilters in the UK? But other than that, I don't think there is anything existing for UK quilters or about UK quilters, is there?
I haven't seen anything, if you know of anything, then leave us a comment below and let us know, and then we can sort of give them a shout out and maybe spread the word a little bit.
Absolutely.
So, there seems to be a very large number of American-based podcasts and video blogs and things like that. So
yeah,
we just thought
we both enjoy those. So we thought we'd have a go doing our own
and see how it goes.
Yes. Yeah.
So
what are we going to start
with?
What
are you going to start with? Have you got anything finished? Have you got anything that's actually finished and completed to show?
No, I don't know.
It's a good start, this, isn't it?
I've got a few things that are nearing completion, but not finished.
Not finished.
No. Looks like you've got something that is finished on your pile.
That's an item that's gone. I've got a quilt. I've got a quilt that's. Oh, I have got one that's completely finished. This is a quilt that I made. Oh, it must be about 3-4 years ago now, and I did it for a class because we both teach as well. So this is one that I did for a class, and I did a little quilt talk for a local quilt group, and when I was preparing for it, I decided to have a little count up and see how many quilt tops I had waiting to be quilted, and I actually stopped counting at about 29 because I got a little bit scared at that point. So I had some family over for Christmas that year, so I'd said to them, choose one and I'll finish it for you and I'll quilt it. So that was a year and a half ago, but I've now done one, so I'm not sure how we're going to work this actually, whether you're going to actually be able to see it, but it's a star.
That's gorgeous.
So I can't actually remember the range, the fabric range that I did it from. It was something Park, I think.
Yeah, I can see Park Avenue.
Yeah,
is it Park Avenue?
Something. I can't remember what it was called now.
No, it's lovely. I love the colours.
So this is for my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. I don't think they'll be watching this. I think I'm fairly safe, but they know it's coming anyway. But he was quite specific in how he wanted it quilting. So he was actually, yes, which quite surprised me.
Oh wow.
So this is quilted on a domestic machine, and it was all marked up. I used a friction pen to mark it up and do the straight lines, and
it smells like it's been washed.
It's freshly washed actually. Yeah, it was washed at the weekend and dried.
So I had an issue with one of those. It wasn't a friction pen. It was a marking pen.
Right.
can't remember the name of the brand, it was a Japanese brand, but it was a duo one. You had like a pen and then you have a water, well not a water, you have some other solvent in a different pen that you're supposed to take it away. But I thought that if I marked it and then washed it, I didn't need to use the eraser side of it.
No.
So I just got brown marks all over it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. It did eventually, after about 3 washes, I got it out. I had to use a bit of hydrogen peroxide just to help. So no, that was a bit of a disaster. It could have been worse than it was, but anyway, it wasn't too bad in the end. But you have to be careful with the pens, don't you? So,
you do. Yeah, always test them before you.
Yeah, well, I didn't, which was
them.
silly, wasn't it? Really.
So yes, so that's that's a complete finish. So that one's ready to go.
And did you find this difficult too? I've never made a Lone Star. So.
Actually, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. We did strips and then cut sections off the strips and.
And how do you make sure that they all intersect?
Well, going one way it works quite nicely because the seams just sort of butt up against each other with the way that you press them. Going the other way, it's a little bit more difficult, so you do have to pin a little bit more carefully just to make sure that you do hit them. We won't look too closely because there's probably one or two. But yeah, so that's
this straight line quilting is really in, isn't it? I love the look. It's very contemporary, isn't it?
It is. And I said I was going to do it in straight line, but he said he wanted it to radiate out from the centre. Yeah. I think I might have done a little bit more, maybe done it a little bit more closer together, but I must admit I got a bit bored with it towards the end. I love straight line quilting. It works brilliantly. It's really effective. Oh God, I find it really tedious to do. It's so boring.
Well, I suppose once you know what you're going to do, it does become a bit. Well, it's just a chore of doing it. Then, isn't it? So. Yeah.
So that's that one, and then this one is. This was again the same Christmas. This was then for my mother-in-law. She picked her quilt top, and I've just finished this one. Now this one I did the quilt top a couple of years, maybe about 3-4 years ago. I don't know if you can see from these. We'll maybe try and get some better photographs to put on afterwards to link to. Yeah. This is a disappearing 9 patch, which is set on point.
Yeah.
And so I made the quilt top a few years ago, but just to keep it in context, the fabric that's on the back, be careful because there's a needle in that, I'm just seeing the binding on there. The fabric on the back, when I sat down and worked it out, I think it's probably about the same age as my youngest son, who is nearly 19 years old now.
Yeah, I've got fabrics that old.
So yeah, there's a couple of bits on the back that are. And this was quilted on a New English quilt frame.
I love this leafy.
Yeah, that was your suggestion, I think, actually, that one. Yeah, I think so.
That's lovely.
But I think this was the end I started on, so I don't know if you can see, it gives quite a nice texture, quite a nice effect. But then by the time we got to the end, it's a recurring theme with me, but I sort of got a little bit bored. And I wanted to get it off the frame and get it finished. So you can see this, it's a little bit sparse on the quilting on that end. So I think what I might do is I might go back in on the domestic and just put a few little extra sort of fronds on there. And
you don't need to do it on the domestic anymore, do you?
No, this was actually my last one off the New English quilt frame, and it was the last one I pulled off. But I've now got a Bernina longarm, which is very exciting. So
you can put it back on there, because one of the things you can do, even if you've bound the quilt, you can actually put it back on the longarm.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because this is what I'm going to do with mine here.
Oh right.
I've got to the stage where I'm actually out of time for quilting. I've done as much as I've got time available to me at the moment. It's going in a show on the 2nd of June, so I need to get the binding on and get the sleeve on. But then I may go back at a later stage and do some more quilting. But absolutely, really finish it all off, and then you're just going to pin just beyond this binding area here.
I didn't realise that. Well, I was just going to stick it under the machine and just, like I say, just stick a few extra.
You'd find it a lot easier on your Bernina.
Would I?
Yeah.
It's very exciting. It's very exciting. Yeah. So that one's just. I'm just putting the binding on and just in the process of stitching it down. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So that's my two biggies. My two biggies. Yeah, they are actually. Yes. So I'm quite pleased with those.
Yeah,
one of the ladies that comes along to my classes, she sort of set herself a challenge because, like me, she had a lot of quilt tops that were waiting to be quilted. So she's challenged herself to finish a quilt a month.
Yeah, it's a good challenge.
So I thought, do you know what, I can do that.
Yeah,
I can do
absolutely.
That. So
29 quilt tops. You've got 27 quilt tops now.
Well, that was probably about a year ago. So there's probably
a bit more than that.
Probably a few more as well.
One of the things you find if you are teaching, which you do 3 times a week.
Yeah, on average. She'll average about that. Yeah.
So you're making samples all the time. So, and quite often, I don't know if you do this, I often don't quilt the samples that I'm teaching.
No.
The simple fact, people like to see the construction process behind. So they like to see how you've actually pressed your seams and all that kind of business. So I don't often quilt my samples, my class samples.
And it's easy to transport.
Unless it's for a quilting.
Yeah.
Obviously that's different.
Yeah.
And it's easier to transport indeed.
Yeah.
So you haven't got the bulk.
Exactly. Because they are heavy when they, when you've got one.
So I'm just trying to work out. If you've got 20, so if you've got 30 quilts, one a month, so that's going to be at least 2.5 years then.
And that's without making any extras on top of that. So, this has got the wool wadding.
Oh, right.
The Tuscany. Is it the Tuscany?
I haven't used that actually.
No, I haven't. So this is the first
Feels
time I've used this. So you have to be a bit more careful about how you wash it afterwards. But it quilted up really nicely. I was really pleased with how it quilted.
I've never used a hob's wool. I've used, my favourite is Matilda's Own, which is the 60% wool, 40% polyester. That you can throw in the washer and dryer. That's an issue. But
this one I think you have to wash it on a wool. Obviously, cooler wool.
Well, I don't ever wash my quilts on delicate anyway, wouldn't you?
Oh, I do, yeah.
Well, in fact, most times I'll put them in the bath to soak and then just rinse them.
Oh, no, you're very good at that, aren't you? I tend to just stick mine in the washing machine on the, like Tracy said, on a delicate cycle. I put a couple of die catches in with it as well, and touch wood, I haven't had too many disasters. So, what's your big one? Let's have a look at your big one.
The big one. This is the one that's due to go in the...
Mind your coffee cup.
In the show on the 2nd of June.
Oh, I've seen it in progress.
I'll give you a little bit of background on this. So I belong to a small group in a little village called East Tisted, which is near Alton. So if any of you are fans of Jane Austen, she lived in Chiltern, so it's not far from there. So it's in a lovely part of Hampshire. And there's only, at the moment, I think that we've only got about 12 members, but we did have 15 members at the time we put this together. So each year we do a group project where we all get involved in making the same quilt. We all make our own quilts. Well, actually, no, one year we did a round robin, but we do tend to make our own. But what we got was for each of the members, we asked each member to submit a block. So each month, it's a bit like a mystery quilt, because every month someone would come with their block. It was their turn to present their block, and they would have produced the notes as to how to make the block. So produce the instructions for us, and then we all made a block from everybody in the group. And so, there's all sorts of different people's builds.
They're upside down, actually.
So we've got some fairly traditional ones. This one here, we did allow people to interpret blocks. So if you didn't particularly like the block, then we did say, okay, we'll interpret it and you can adapt it to suit yourself. But work on the theme of. So this one, for example, it was actually a Christmas tree that the lady put in. I didn't like the Christmas tree, but I used a method that we'd played with in class to actually produce. These are a bit fluffy. I'll put these off later. So, and then this one here, for example, that was one large heart. That was, and I thought it was just a little bit too large, so I just duplicated it or quadrupled it. Quadrupled it.
And then I don't know if you can see, each of the backgrounds is slightly different. And
so I went with a mix of backgrounds. I kind of did. This has got Matilda's in it as well. So I have to say, this is my favourite block. This one here. I love that one. It was a bit of a surprise. It is a Rose of Sharon. When we were given that, it was a lady by the name of Jill presented this, but she's now passed away. So it's quite a special block. I really like that one a lot. But then I have actually...
And that's machine applique on, isn't it?
Yeah, I did with the buttonhole. I did with the buttonhole stitch. But somewhere in the corner, I took that design. So you can see a partial bit of it here.
Again, we'll see if we can get some proper photos of them to put up.
So
look,
in the quilting, I've tried to duplicate the blocks in the quilting. So I don't think you actually can't. I don't know if you can see that. So the background quilting is actually each of the blocks as quilt lines. So
yeah, you can just see them there.
So there, for example, there is the. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if it's focusing on it. That is the heart one, for example. So yeah. So that was my idea. I just replicated what was in the.
No, it's lovely.
Blocks.
And then the back, you have to look at the back as well. Look at that fabric, isn't that funky?
Yeah, it's quite a funky fabric.
Yeah, I've got some of this actually. It's quite an old one, this one, I think, isn't it?
Was this American Jane?
Yes, I think it was actually.
Potluck by American Jane, yeah.
Yeah,
Sandy. For Moda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one very much. So anyway, I'm now at the stage, as I said, I ran out of time in terms of quilting because my original plan was to do lots of dense background filler work, but actually I'm not even sure if it needs it, to be honest. But this is also extra. It's quite a long quilt, so I have to decide whether I'm going to chop it down a bit.
Yeah.
Or just.
Have you got a size limitation for your?
Well, I did ask that question, but I didn't get an answer. But most quilt frames can take possibly up to 100-inch.
And what's this one now?
Well, I haven't actually measured since I quilted. Before it went on the frame, it was 104. So,
right.
But I made it extra long, so I can easily cut it down.
Take a bit off.
Yeah, I just don't know whether to do that or not at the moment, so I'll have to decide what to do. So I'm going to bind it. I might chop it, bind it, get it all ready, see what I think when it's hanging, and then decide at a later date whether I want to do some more like filler work behind here. That was what I was originally going to do, but sometimes I think we quilt because we can, not because it needs it. Yeah. But anyway, I really enjoyed doing this.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So, and it was nice because it is, sort of everybody participated in the whole project, even though she wrote. You got a bit of everybody's.
Oh, it's nice. It's a lovely colour palette as well.
Yeah.
Nice and bright and cheerful.
Very scrappy. Scrappy. Right.
So there we go. So that's that one.
Ultra large. This one again just needs binding.
Oh. Now this is David
Parson Gray, yeah. It was
David Butler, isn't it?
Yeah. So this
I was going to call him Mr. Amy Butler, but he probably wouldn't appreciate that very much.
No, this was his actual range of fabrics as well. So I don't know if I think he did actually do a couple of lines, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
But I love this colour palette.
Oh, it's lovely.
I really liked it. I made this quilt for a friend a long time ago, and then I actually had enough fabric to do one for me. So.
Oh, okay. I was going to say,
this is the second time around. So
I don't know if you can see the quilting on it.
Quilting, I just did. I don't remember the name of the quilting designer. Could be Bobalicious, maybe.
Yeah,
I can't remember. But anyway, I love circles. So
really nice. It works really well actually.
So
with the
pattern, it's got a linen back. I did put a linen fabric back on it, so you can see the design there.
Shows it better there, doesn't it?
Linen is beautiful to quilt. Love quilting linen.
Is it not a bit loose weave?
No, it's beautiful. You want a loose weave.
Yeah, so that the needle goes through. But I wondered whether it was too loose.
No, I don't think so.
It looks nice.
So in fact, you get if it's. I've just done a quilt for a lady with a batik back, which did we say I actually do longarm quilt anyway? So I quilt for other people. So I'm a quilter for hire. I think that's the expression. Only for quilting.
Not other things.
But she gave me a batik back, which I love batiks. They look beautiful, but they are very tightly woven.
Yeah, too tight.
Too tight, and so you've got to really relax your quilting sandwich, so the needle has a chance of getting through.
Yeah.
And more often than not, the thread will sit on the surface of the fabric instead of actually bedding in. So with linen, it really beds in beautifully. Yeah. So I do like a linen.
Yeah,
like a linen.
Nice bit of texture on there, don't you?
But the fabrics, I think, are very masculine. So
yes, definitely.
But not so masculine that I don't like it.
And was that his pattern? Was that
Yes, that was his.
He did the design as well, didn't he?
Design,
Yeah.
His design, yeah.
Very nice.
Yes, big bullseye. So yes, so that's that.
I have to say that the kitchen floor is now covered, absolutely covered in threads.
In threads.
Yeah, all over the place.
Well, that's not unusual.
No.
I'm always covered in threads.
Occupational hazard.
Yeah. So what have you got next?
So what else have I got? Well, I have got this little. I have had it finished for a while. So this was based on, I think it's Modern Handcraft. Nicole. Can't remember your surname, Nicole. I'll try and remember it, but so her modern hexes,
That's cool,
which is then machine stitched down. Don't you see? And that's some of the Liberty quilting cotton range that came out. This was I think the first run that they did. They've had a couple of runs since, and I did it in class and decided I was going to turn it into a little pouch, which is lovely because I use it all the time.
I had quilting on it as well.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can see it. I think that's Macawa fabric, linen look, cotton type fabric. The only thing about this is, we're talking about quilt markers. I had one of these sort of retractable blue markers, and it was in the bag, and unknown to me, I'd left it open.
Ooh.
And so like a biro, I don't know if you can see there, like a biro, it seeped into the fabric, you know, like when you used to leave a biro in your felt tip pen. Yeah. And despite numerous washings,
it's not coming out. But it was a blue marker. Really?
Which is slightly worrying. Yeah. Slightly worrying, actually. But yeah, so
did you get heat on it then?
I don't know. Possibly.
You didn't put it through a dryer or anything?
No, I don't have a dryer, so no. So I don't quite know what happened there. But anyway, that's...
anyway, it doesn't distract us.
No, it's around the side. You can't use it.
So, yeah,
it's very nice. So yes, I thought I'd just show that.
Very nice. Very nice.
And then, what else? So, works in progress. I've got this, which is definitely a work in progress. So this is a bit of Tula pink.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So this was a charm pack that I actually cut down. I saw a picture of something on Instagram or Pinterest or one of them, and so we did this sort of shifted panel. It's strips, and you then sort of shift one up, and it reminded me of those. Do you remember those? Not Pac-Man, but they're like Space Invaders games where you used to shoot out the top. Yeah. So anyway, so that's I've now quilted around that. So I'm using the foamy bag interfacing.
I think I've seen this.
Like
Bosal
is the correct term for it, but this is a Vilene alternative, I think. So it's quite foamy, but it gives it a nice bit of body. And then I'm going to echo this shape in the quilting on this side, and it's going to become a market bag, one of Noodlehead, Anna Graham's market bags. So it's going to be something like one of those, basically. If you can see that. So that's the plan.
Oh, you bought some of those handles as well, didn't you?
I did. Some of those. We went to QuiltCon this year. And I've got some lovely little leather ones. Yeah,
if you don't know what QuiltCon is, by the way, it's the
Modern Quilt Guild.
Modern Quilt Guild, just the annual show of the Modern Quilt Guild. And this year it was held in Savannah
Nashville.
Nashville. Got them a year out. Yeah,
you are a year out. Yeah.
2 years out here. Yeah. 2 years. It was Pasadena between.
Yes, so it was 2 years ago.
Savannah, yeah, Nashville in where is it? Nashville. Georgia? No, not Georgia. Atlanta? No.
Nashville, Tennessee?
Tennessee, even.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. It's Tennessee.
Oops. Sorry, Nashville.
Yeah.
So that's my plan with that. But that is definitely
lovely city, by the way. I really enjoyed going to Nashville.
Apart from the rain.
It rained. And we had flood warnings every day.
Yeah, just about.
Which is interesting. The first time we got it, because it comes through to it's a text on your phone. So they just send you this warning through to say that flood is expected at a certain time in a certain area. Of course, we didn't know where the areas were. So So that, I think the first one was a bit frightening.
Yes, it's quite loud noise.
Yeah, it's a very loud noise. It went off about 7 in the morning, didn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, we didn't get flooded out. we did get rained on
Very wet.
heavily, but there was no flooding as such.
No, not where we were. No.
But anyway, that was a great trip.
It was good.
Apart from the flu that we all
Apart from the flu, yeah. We all, there's a whole load of Brits who came across on the plane at the same time, and so many of them came down with this awful virus.
It was a nasty dose.
Which bedded quite a few people down, didn't it? Including yourself.
So. Yes, I had a day in bed as a result, and then
which wasn't good.
I think a couple of the other ladies got very ill, and one of them was on bed rest when she got home, wasn't she? So not a nice dose at all.
No. Anyway, moving on from that. So, what else you got down there? Have you got anything else?
Well, what I've done, I have bought just the ones that are. I've got so many whips. Honestly, I've got an awful lot of things to finish that I don't get around to finishing. But these are all waiting for bindings.
Oh, right, okay.
This is my current binding pile. And I bought this one. You may actually remember I pieced this on your vintage hand crank machine.
Did you?
Yeah, we went to a show at the Sustainability Centre.
Oh, I do remember. Yeah,
very long time
it was
ago.
a few years ago.
And this is just a shirting.
Oh look, can you see the quilting? I think you can see the quilting.
Yeah, so anyway, I bought this because this has got
bunny rabbits on it,
and I believe
so cute.
Jessica Schick of I can't remember the name of the company now. Yeah, I think maybe her husband designed it. I'm not sure if it was her husband. I know it was a male name.
All right.
So could have been her son.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. I quite like the rabbits. I thought it was quite cute. So I'm still actually looking for a binding to suit. I don't know whether I think it's a pink quilt, don't you? This is more than blue. It's kind of an equal mix of blue and pink.
Well, I think you could do it either way, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can choose.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting until the
or red. Red.
I don't know. Really.
No,
I don't know.
I think you could go with whatever you wanted, really.
So don't you see as well on the edge? One of the things I do is I don't think you can see that actually. I do an overlock on or a serger edge around the quilt, basically because I know I'm not going to put the binding on anytime soon. They hang around for that long that rather than have the quilting come away, I tend to put the overlock edge on, and at least it's secure and it can sit in the pile quite happily for, in this case, several years. But it really must get round. But I don't know whether to do it for a boy or a girl. There is a new little boy next door, so maybe I should make it a boy quilt and give it to him.
That would be nice. And that would be a way of getting it finished then, wouldn't it? And off the pile.
So, yeah, it's okay. There we go. I've made a decision.
There you go.
It's going to be a blue quilt for a boy. So there you go. So that's that.
Okay.
So, what else? You've got something else to show there?
Well, all I've got left, I've got a couple of garments that I've done, but apart from that, I'm just lock of the month, so you can do that.
So this is a table runner.
Oh, look.
And this is a case where I made the quilt too long again, so I just chopped a piece off.
Okay.
And this is freehand quilted with a...
that's lovely. You can see the texture. And now it's got, actually, you turn it over, you can probably see it a bit better there, look. So this was all freehand?
Yes, yeah. Just go and fill in with a bit of around the edges. I tend to, good opportunities in doodle quilting, that kind of thing, so quite like that design. It's kind of like a maze that goes in on itself and comes back out again. It's quite nice. Bit of fun. So that needs a binding.
Right.
So since I did actually...
That's nice actually. It's a nice length for the table actually.
Yeah, I guess it is.
It looks really nice on my table.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Okay.
This was one where I ran out of the fabrics. So I actually don't have a long enough length of anything to
finish it with.
Yeah. And I also had trouble with the thread on this one. Look, so I obviously got lots of thread breaks. Which happens, of course, sometimes. Sometimes threads don't behave, so not to worry on that one.
There we go.
That's that.
Is that it?
Well, I do have
more.
Yeah,
you've got another one. You've got another one down there. What's that?
Oh, I'll show that.
Because that looks intriguing.
What, this one?
No, there was another. What's that?
Oh, this one.
Oh, yeah, what's that one? It was that one.
This one is a Christmas one that's waiting to be done. Do you recognise the backing? This is in a red.
Oh, look, yes.
This is a very simple one.
Oh, this is
It's a jelly roll one, this is.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, jelly roll.
That's really nice and bright, isn't it?
And this is a Apricot Moon is the quilting design. I don't know who Apricot Moon is. They're just known as Apricot Moon. I don't know if it's a lady or a gentleman that does the digitising. I've no idea. So anyway, but it's a circle with a Christmas tree in it, which I thought was appropriate for this one.
Okay, so
we just cut off.
Technical issues. Neither of us got any idea what we're doing, so it's very interesting. Okay, so jelly roll quilt.
Yeah, jelly roll quilt. Did this? I actually made the top with lots of things a few years ago. This was quilted recently.
I'm going to have to put my glasses on because I can't actually see. But is it Christmas trees?
Yeah, it's a circle. So
a circle with a Christmas tree. If you can see it.
Christmas tree. Oh, it's on its side. It's on its side. There's a good. Put it that way.
Turn it round.
To see it.
There you go.
Can you see it or not? So there's the circle.
That's it.
There's the Christmas
there's the tree
in there, which I think is a lovely design. I really like this design. I think it suits
really nice.
Very well. One goes up, one goes down, I believe. So
yeah, it's really effective.
So Apricot Moon is the. I wish I remember the names of things. I should write these down before, but I can look it up for you.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lovely design, and I set it quite large. So.
That's really nice.
So
is that's a digital?
Yes.
Yeah. So you do program into the computer and then press the button and it.
Yeah, it's
obviously there's a bit more to it than that. I do know that. I do know it's a little bit more technical than that, Tracey.
A bit more technical. Probably a little bit more technical. Indeed, it can. But essentially, yes, you buy for the quilting side of it. I mean, the patchwork I made up.
Yes.
I just put 2 jelly roll pieces together to make a centre, and then went round the edge and tried to keep the colours relatively consistent.
And is that one jelly roll?
It's one jelly roll. One jelly roll.
Wow, so it's a good size then, isn't it?
And then of course it's made larger by putting the white sashing in between.
Yeah.
So, but one jelly roll, so 2.5 metres of fabric, or 2.5 yards. Is it metres or yards in jelly roll? Yards.
They do in yards, don't they? Yeah.
So
yeah, it's really good. It's good size.
Yes, but then the quilting I do. Actually, if anybody wants to know about this, it's an IntelliQuilter. So I use an IntelliQuilter to actually quilt my designs with. So you go away and you purchase a pattern, and then you put the pattern into the computer, and then tell the computer where to stitch, and then it goes away and does the stitching.
Yeah.
So,
that's lovely.